Alright, we got a pretty cool one here. We got the Eldar versus the Ordo Malleus. It's going to be Kickin playing as the Warlock here. I don't know why his name's a hyphen. Don't question it, it's Kickin. And we got Lord Killer 2010, who is a Smurf. And if you care to know who the Smurf is, join my Discord and I'll tell you. But otherwise, I'm not going to out him here. I think most of the high-level community knows already. This is quite an old replay. But it is a good game. It's not just some random play. But I was a little bit concerned when Kickin appeared in this replay and I seen him up against a level 17 player, and I'm like, has Kickin had a night where he was drinking a little bit too much? He's getting wrecked by some level 17 noob. But no, I had a little look on 4x speed, didn't really take too much notice of the strategies or anything. Seems like this is a legit replay, so let's do this. So Eldar versus OM. Really interesting matchup. It's actually probably one of OM's best matchups because Strike Squad actually do pretty damn good against the Banshees. BC is a bit awkward. It's really nice that you get Mind Blades to make the Strike Squad just win any fight against Banshees, basically guaranteed, but the BC himself can be a little bit vulnerable to the Banshees in retreat because of how slow he is. Oh, beautiful special attack there from the Strike Squad, but I don't know who's going to win this. Yeah, looks like the Strikes are going to win it. Killing 4 Howling Banshees, probably done by that special. But the BC was contributing a lot of damage there, uses We Are the Hammer. And you'll notice that the damage resistance from the We Are the Hammer did buff the Strike Squad, so they were having damage resistance boosts for basically all of that fight, which will help them a lot. And remember, he does splash attacks for a while after he uses We Are the Hammer now. So he actually does contribute a fair bit to melee fights after using that We Are the Hammer. I don't think he wants to take on Banshees on his own still. I'm pretty sure he can't win that fight. Banshee's a little bit too durable, but he can probably kill a couple of Banshee models before he has to retreat, and then with only 3 Banshee models to try and kill him on retreat, they probably aren't going to wipe him. But yeah, you got to time it careful, because he's so slow, and Banshees are so quick, especially with Fleet of Foot. They can get a lot of damage onto you in retreat. So you kind of have to retreat like at 50% HP. Anyway, it's going to be a fast purgation squad. So yeah, you'll notice no Tome of the Titan, but we do have the IST Sarge and double gens. So the IST Sarge comes up early because it supports the double gens. If you go double gens, you can generally get an upgrade alongside your power intensive tier 1.5, which is, you know, something like purgation or operatives, but not interceptors. They'd be more wreck intensive. So do we have a grenade on the way? We do have a grenade coming up. Let's see if they can get the wipe here on the IST. If they get it on the doorway, boom, and then Banshees to finish them off. Can the purgation stop them? No, they can't. But yeah, now the Banshees are in an awkward spot there. Pinned down by the purgation. BC coming up round the back. What's going on this side? We just got strikes capping. Okay, so nice little pick off there. I think Lord Killer probably should have seen that coming. Was maybe hoping that he was just kind of calling a bluff, but thing is, that battle equipment upgrade on the Guardians, yes, sometimes you'd rather get a Shuriken out sooner, but it's never a bad upgrade. It's not like getting Flamers on the Tactical Marines or Guardsmen, where sometimes you just don't want them. You want the extra range, and especially for Guardsmen, you want Plasma Guns in Tier 2. Which is no longer a case in the new patch, by the way. You can actually swap from Flamers to Plasma Guns in Tier 2. But anyway, it's never a bad thing to get that battle equipment. So that's going to help him throughout the rest of the game now. 33% extra HP on all these models. This is going to be tricky for the Guardians, though. If they ever encounter the Strike Squad, they will get wrecked. Now, let's see how the Banshees can do here. They're going to just rip the BC to pieces. Using the Warlock there, who now has his Champion's Robe and his Merciless Witchblade to tie up the Purgation and force them into the garrison. And of course, there is a grenade here as well. Might get a model. Quite unlucky not to get a model there, but they actually will be hit in base healing for quite some time. Now, the good thing for Lord Killer is he's got pretty much total control of this side of the map. Nothing. The only thing that can take on the strike squad, well, to be fair, the Warlock could probably take them on. The Howling Banshees as well. Howling Banshees, it's a bit of a tricky fight. It kind of is 50-50, but the thing is, because Howling Banshees are faster than the strike squad, if the Howling Banshees are losing the fight, they can generally get out quite safely, whereas the strike squad sometimes risk getting wiped if they start losing the fight late on. So we're going to see a follow-up with some Inquisitorial operatives. It'll be interesting to see what Kickin is going to go for here, whether he goes for the Rangers or the Shuriken. Shuriken's coming out first. I mean, that's kind of a no-brainer sort of thing to get. Just count as the Purgation, count as the IST, but of course you have to wonder what is Lord Killer going to be going for next. And after having gone for the Purgation, you would expect the follow-up would be either the Operatives or the Interceptors, and either way they're going to be pretty decent against Shurikens. But I guess Interceptors would also be good against Rangers. You see here, Strike Squad in green cover with their Stormbolter is going to absolutely dominate those Guardians, but the Banshees are now moving over. Warlock trying his best to deal with these Purgation. No melee charge on the Warlock though is pretty painful. Look at the HP on him, man. If only he had some sort of grenade. But there's no one else here to support the Warlock. Yeah, and then the Banshees forced off the Strike Squad here. They don't want that fight. Strike Squad don't have the Tome of Titan. The Banshees have their aspect, whether it's the aspect of strength or the aspect of fleetness. That extra HP they're going to get with this means that they will handily win that fight. What's going on down here? Oh, a smoke grenade from the Operative, so you see now the range of the Shuriken is shut down. Maybe giving them enough time to get the Gen Bash. Maybe not. An Incendiary Grenade now going onto the Shuriken. Not enough damage on its own to force it off, but will do a lot of damage. It's going to retreat, which is a little bit weird, because this is not safe yet. Is he actually going to keep these Purgation in play and suppress the Guardians? Very brave. An optimistic grenade there, like, screw you. Gonna be dodged quite easily. Operatives rotate over to the left hand side. You've seen their retreat cancel with the fallback plan. But yeah, Banshees using Fleet of Foot to get in. Very lucky actually from the Operatives there that all their shotguns seem to be focusing one model and popped it early. And that's going to help the Brother Captain in this fight, because this is 4 Banshees versus the Brother Captain. But this is a Brother Captain that's level 1 with no upgrades. So yeah, he needs to get out of there. But he does manage to kill a Banshee model before he does. So, I mean, it's a free model kill, isn't it? You're not bleeding with the BC here. And now, when it's a 3v3 fight like this, the Strike Squad obviously will win quite easily. So, oh wow, are you kidding me? The generator's alive on 1 HP. Really? I guess the Warlock came out then and forced off the IST before they could finish it. But there's a Rhino on the field, and that Rhino is going for a heavy bolter turret, and it's got Purgation with incinerators inside of it, so I have to assume we're going to see this Rhino beeline straight to the gen farm. And you'll notice that Kickin isn't quite in tier 2 yet, so there's a little bit of a timing window here in which there's not really going to be any AV, so we could see a full gen bash. Now there is a Guardian Weapons team. We can see that's right, so Kickin's seen the Razorback. Well, the Guardian Weapons team is going to be retreating. It's got a Bright Lance upgrade on the way. It's going to rotate to the gen farm to try and protect it, but it's probably not going to be fast enough. You see right there, Stormbolter ticking out that first gen. The Purgation are dropped off with their incinerators, and now everything can burn down this gen farm. Bright Lance needs to move quick if it's going to do anything. We've got a bit of a pincer attack going on here from the Warlock and the Banshees, but neither of them do any heavy melee. So the Banshees right now are just delaying, trying to tie up the Purgation in melee so they don't use their incinerators. And the Bright Lance should be able to set up. Warlock should just be able to tie up the Purgation. This should be a fine defense. But we do have Operatives on the way. Okay, so the Operatives are now on the way. We see the smoke drop by the Razorback, so it's not going to take much damage for a little bit of time until this smoke wears off. And that buys time for the Razorback, for the Operatives to get into position. So they use the smoke, so now there is no threat to the Rhino. Something else needs to tie up the Operatives in melee, but now they leave with an Incendiary Grenade, and the Bright Lance is forced off. Look how tanky this Warlock is, man. I feel like he's been stood here, getting shot by this Rhino for so long. Only level 2, but very, very tanky with that champion's robe. Oh, I don't like this fight, to be fair, from the Eldar. Oh! I didn't realise. I'm an idiot. There's a Falcon coming, so this is actually not a bad fight for the Eldar at all. But the thing is, the Razorback is faster than the Falcon. Looks like the Razorback's going to get out of here. Yeah. And a Banshee Exarch gets slain. BC should probably just be retreating at this point. Oh, wow. Really lucky special there. Turns around and instantly gets a special. That was really lucky. That was a lot of bleed for Kickin. Very unfortunate there with the Banshees. I think there was a good chance if he didn't get that instant special that that Brother Captain would have actually died. Banshee's only level 1. I feel is really hurting them right now. And here we go. We got the Mind Blades now being used on the Strike Squad, giving them extra melee damage and melee skill. And you'll see they were flipping that Warlock all over the place. They got their Justicar as well, and the Tome of Titans. Well, Tome of Titan. So this is increasing their HP and melee by 10%. The Justicar himself is a badass fighter, and the Justicar increases the HP of all nearby units as well. So we got... Oh, this is a bit of a weird situation. Oh, should be able to take out the Razorback here. Oh, he needs to be really careful with the Bright Lance. Just retreat the Bright Lance, man. Might die to the... Yeah, the Bright Lance dies to the Incendiary. And, wow, he can't actually kill the Razorback right now. Because it's getting healed by the IST. You've got the AV from a Psy Cannon right there. And there's also Inquisitorial Operatives infiltrated around here. If they get a Melter Bomb onto this Falcon just as it's getting into the line of fire of the Psy Cannon, this could be a dead Falcon. So the Bright Lance goes down. And Lord Killer is going to be going straight to tier 3. Just riding this situation out with his Rhino. I mean, so far so good, right? Another Incendiary Grenade. Bit of a weird Incendiary Grenade, that one. Not a huge fan of it because it telegraphed the position of the operatives. That said, I don't understand why the Falcon is driving forward in that instance. Distort Field goes down into the Banshees here, so that's going to make them take only half the damage from ranged attacks that they normally would. But ranged attacks aren't the threat right now. The real threat is the melee from the Strike Squad and the Brocat. But it's not quite good enough. Nice special there from the Warlock. You see now that that is doing a lot less damage than before. Now these guys are a lot stronger with their Tome of Titans and their Justicar HP buff. It does slay the Justicar though. First model loss on the squad, killing the Justicar. Must feel good for Kickin. So that was a really good engagement for him. Actually wiped the Psy Cannon Purgation with the Banshees. Big overcommitment there from Lord Killer. And a little bit of bleed. Not that much bleed, to be honest. I mean, it was just the Justicar. But it's power bleed, which is quite important. You'll notice there's only 2 gens here. I mean, he has got this power node over this side, but basically he's not... Lord Killer doesn't have a crazy amount of power, and he is going to need that right now. Falcon should be refocusing the Rhino right now. There's nothing the IST can do against the Falcon, so it could easily drive up and just chase it away. Doesn't need to be so cautious. Of course, he doesn't know if there's anything further back here, but, you know, even if there's operatives with a Melter Bomb, there's no other AV. You know, you killed the Psy Cannon, and Strike Squad themselves can't do AV. That said, Kickin should know right now that he has not seen any units from Lord Killer for a very long time. He should know that he's gone tier 3, I would say. This is really weird. Lord Killer has gone tier 3 and is now building upgrades on his Brocat. So I find that very strange. And his Brocap's going to get wrecked right now. Yeah, by the Banshees. I must admit, the Lord Killer's been playing pretty well so far, but he seems to be making some very crucial mistakes here. I mean, losing the Psy Cannon over here was obviously a vital misjudgment mid-battle. But this right here, I don't know what this is. I don't know why he would have purchased these upgrades in tier 3. I mean, this is a tier 1 war gear. This is a tier 2 war gear. And sending the Brocap in there against a Falcon, Banshees, and the Warlock? Very strange choice. Anyway, he repurchases the Brother Captain. What the hell was that? Oh, right. They threw the Melter Bomb before they retreated. And now they're reinforcing off of the Razorback. But they're kind of just taking damage. And Banshees are going to take a little bit of focus fire here. Quite a lot of focus fire. They should probably just retreat. Yeah. Now, they should have finished the cap at that point, but... Kickin needs to do his best to minimize bleed right now. A little bit of grenade to get the Strike Squad out of the cover. But they're so tanky. So tanky. They're just eating those Falcon shots. No problem. Nice bit of HP regen boost here from the Webway Gate. The Warlock going to be coming out again with the Banshees and the Warlock. What's going on over here? We got the secondary Guardian. Nice little energy shield position here to bash the gens from. And that's going to be very nice for Kickin. Lord Killer, as I said, really needs that power. I mean, repurchasing his hero has actually meant he's actually kind of decent in power right now, actually. He needs the requisition a bit more, but... that'll change after he gets one tier 3 purchase.
We are losing a victory objective.
Seizing this point shall break the enemy's hold.
So, I mean, what is Lord Killer trying to do? Is he going for maybe Paladins? Perhaps he always wanted Paladins, but he realized he didn't have enough red. I mean, I think a Warhammer Razorback would still have been tremendously useful. It would easily beat a Falcon. So I don't know. But a nice rotation here with the Razorback obviously forced off the Guardians wherever they're now gone. They're gone into the Webway. Oh, they're inside the Falcon at this point. So it'll force off the Guardians from over here and then rotates down the side of the map to start bashing Kickin's farm.
Generator operational. Adding wave generator.
Not really a fight that the Banshees want right now with the Strike Squad there, but the Strike Squad actually were in range stance, which is a little bit of a mistake. So they take their time getting in melee there. It's going to be Grey Knight Terminators. Yeah, still no red for Paladins. I don't know if you'd even want Paladins. Paladins are inferior at dealing with infantry because they don't do splash damage compared to normal Grey Knight Terminators, but Paladins obviously way better against vehicles because they've got heavy melee. So we'll see. Terminators traditionally always been pretty damn tough for Eldar to deal with. I mean, you've got Dark Reapers, you've got Fire Dragons, which can do some damage, but man, they're both heavy infantry. They both get wrecked in melee by the power melee. They're very squishy. You know, Banshees do a lot of damage, but obviously you really want to be using them against ranged Terminators, not versus melee Terminators, because melee Terminators will wipe the floor with Banshees. They'll take a bit of damage from the Banshees, but the Banshees unfortunately don't have the durability to deal with the Terminators. Fire Prism can do a little bit of chip damage slowly over time, but DPS versus Terminators is negligible. Alright, Distort Field going down on the Howling Banshees here, but this doesn't look like a great fight. You've got Ward on the Strike Squad and Mind Blades, so they're super resilient to damage right now, probably only taking half the damage that they normally would with the Ward and the We Are the Hammer, and then they're doing crazy amounts of damage, immune to knockback. Yeah, just a bad fight really there with all those buffs coming onto the Strike Squad. I don't think you can take that fight, and yes, your Banshees can reinforce, but so can the Strike Squad. They can reinforce off the Razorback. Of course, with the Terminators teleporting in here, this is not a situation you want to be in. They've got very powerful storm bolters. They've also got a psi cannon and very loud voice lines.
Falcon tank at your command.
But yeah, the psi cannon is going to be really useful to take out that Falcon. You can really just put them in range stance and they will kill Eldar quite easily because their storm bolter and psi cannon is so strong. So you see, this is interesting. We've got Kickin going tier 3, but he's now going to be getting a Wraith Lord because these guys, they don't do heavy melee. So they actually will perform very poorly against a Wraith Lord. I don't know if they can beat a Wraith Lord. I bet they probably can't, to be honest, 1v1. Gonna need another Guardian coming out this side. Okay, fair enough. He's just gonna send the Banshees out. That will make the operatives retreat, but they can always cancel their retreat and come back. See if they do that, yeah. Okay, they're gonna rotate mid. I mean, right now, looking at the VPs, Fedrid Folly, this map, you can just hold these two VPs. And Lord Killer is ahead on VPs, so it's kind of chilling. So the tier 3 tech's not completely useless. He has got this energy field here onto his Falcon, which makes it substantially tougher. So that's a nice tech, and he could get the Providence armor as well and start spamming spells, but he's going to need to swap all of his war gear for that pretty much. Let's see how the Wraith Lord does. This is going to be a pretty massive army versus army fight, but there's not a lot of support right now. Fucking hell, man. Wraith Lord, you need to do something. Okay, the Wraith Lord, the Falcon and the Wraith Lord need to focus the Rhino. Good grenade there. Bit of a miss micro here from Lord Killer. Nice. Wraith Lord gets the rear armor hit there onto the Rhino. Probably want to get the Razorback out now. Oh, sorry, not the Razorback. The Wraith Lord out now. Because the thing is, they can chase it down with the psi cannon so well. Holocaust spell going to be dropped down here on the Guardians, lifting them up, making them not do a whole lot. Vulnerable to being sliced apart by the Terminators in melee, but I don't like this Terminator usage. Yeah, you got to get out of there. This is a lot of DPS for the Terminators to take. Where are the Banshees? They're inside the Falcon, I believe. So now that the Terminators are fleeing, this is where the Banshees can come out and use those power swords to hack away at them in the back. And like I said, the Banshees do good damage against the Terminators. It's just the Terminators do a hell of a lot to the Banshees. The Banshees are very squishy. But yeah, this is not the fight they want, with all the reinforcing support coming out. Melter Bomb going down on the operatives. This is not looking like a good fight for the Wraith Lord, not gonna lie. Ward now dropped down on the Terminators. I believe that's full knockback immunity, even to like ability knockback. Yeah, Guardian's coming in to repair the Wraith Lord, but a little bit late. Oh wow, it's gonna live. No, he needs to keep repairing. Could go into range stance and shoot with a psi cannon. Probably should. Yeah. While he's distracted by the brother captain. Daka 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 daka. Yes, psi cannon kills the Wraith Lord. Brother captain tanking beautifully there. Holy armor of the Titan. Massive increases to his durability, as well as the immortal ability, which literally makes him invulnerable for a little bit. That's the tier 3 armor for the bro cap. Very nicely used there to tank that Wraith Lord. And then he did rotate the Terminators around. He's going to have to reinforce 2 of his Terminator models. That's going to be fairly expensive, 200 rec, 50 power. But let's face it, buying another Wraith Lord is going to be quite a bit more expensive than that. Having to replace the Justicar on the strike squad at some point. They went down, I don't know when. And Kickin's going to be replacing his Wraith Lord. Needs to make sure if the Wraith Lord's in a melee fight with the Terminators that he's actually repairing it with Guardians next time. And I think he should probably also swap his Warlock kit now. Get the tier 3 armor, get the Witchblade of Kurnos, and then he can spam the AoE Ethereal Slash ability in these big fights, which will help DPS down these Terminators, certainly. I mean, if you get a good hit on the operatives or the Stormtroopers, that can bleed them quite easily. So here we go again. You got that Melter Bomb on the Falcon, Terminators charging at it. Decent amount of damage from the Halberds. Only power melee, but, you know, a Falcon's a Falcon. They're not very tanky. So even the 15% DPS from the power melee weapons will be okay. Really, it's all about that side cannon. But unfortunately, Terminator's a little bit too slow in this instance. And now there's going to be a Sick Council coming out too. So you got the ward used here by the Terminators, onto the Terminators, but not really that useful. I mean, it gives them 30% damage resistance, which is fine. The main utility of it, though, is the knockback immunity. So if the Wraithlord gets that really powerful bitch slap special attack, it won't knock them over. A lot of bleed here, though, for Lord Killer. But apparently not that much, because there is, in fact, a Warhammer Razorback on the battlefield, which is now coming down and can DPS down this Wraithlord. So, Sick Council needs to get out, help deter these Terminators. And then you've got a Bright Lance on your Wraithlord. Your Falcon obviously does anti-vehicle as well. Conceding all this damage for free against the Vortimer seems like a bad idea. I'm not sure the Gem Bashing is too useful at this point in the game. Yeah, Terminator's just gonna refocus the Wraithlord here because there's nothing to actually deal with the Vortimer, and the DPS of the Vortimer is too high. Terminator's getting pretty damn low on HP, but the Strike Squads are in there. You see, the problem is that the Strike Squad and the Sick Council, the Strike Squad are high level, so they can proc specials a lot on the Sick Council. Ward goes down, but it looks like that will be the end of the Terminators. No, they teleport out. Do they escape? Probably not, surely. But the Vortimer Razorback can easily kill the Falcon right now. Yeah, Terminators do get slain by the Sick Council, but the Falcon's going to fall to the Vortimer. No AV right now. But this is a scary melee blob for Strike Squad. No Mind Blades on the Strike Squad here. I don't know how he was expecting to win that. Canticle of Absolution certainly won't save you. That's just a bit of HP regen. Need Mind Blades. I don't know why he used Canticle and not Mind Blades. Maybe Mind Blades was already used on the Terminators and on cooldown, possibly. So Strike Squad gets wiped as well, but the problem right now is the Vortimer Razorback is completely uncontested. There's no AV on the field right now for Kickin. And look at it, it is slaying Guardian models, it blew up that Falcon, outputting crazy DPS against the Banshees and the Seers. And Lord Killer's just going to get a second Vortimer Razorback. That's going to be the play. So I guess you got to get a Bright Lance. I mean, should be pretty easy to protect your Bright Lance at this point. I guess the problem is Operatives level 4. There's no detector, so that's quite annoying. Literally just shooting into the base with the Vortimer Razorback right now. I mean, it's like a scouting thing, isn't it? He's trying to figure out where are his units. Well, all of his units right now are here. So that means that these VPs are safe. And he can see when any AV's coming out. And then that means his second Vortimer should be free to drive down this way and go to the contested VP with perhaps IST. Really, another Wraithlord? I find that odd. I mean, I obviously know that Lord Killer can't get a Terminator squad out afterwards. Maybe he will change his mind once he sees the second Vortimer. Let's see. He's not going to see it though. Lord Killer's keeping this one back so he can't see it. Might see it now? No, it's too late. The Wraithlord's on the field. Not good. The double Vortimer will absolutely melt the Wraithlord. Yeah, this is not good. Obviously, Kickin didn't know that there was going to be a second Vortimer. He was probably worried, what if he just replaces the Terminators? So yeah, that's tricky actually. Because obviously if he goes for a Bright Lance and then Terminators come out, he's going to be in a bit of trouble. I mean, it's not terrible because he still has Banshees plus Seers. But it's not ideal. The Wraithlord is much better against Terminators than Banshees and Seers. Yeah, this is a lot of DPS, man. You can see, like, The other infantry's trying to do a push, but they're just getting handily forced off here. Wow, really? The Brocap swapped out to the Force Halberd? Seems a bit unnecessary. Wow, yeah, look at the Hunter Killer missiles coming in here from the Razorbacks. Really, really hurting the Wraith Lord, which needs a lot of repairs right now, and... yeah, this is rough. This is really rough. 2-to-1 cap going on. Here comes the Guardian Weapon team. That needs to become a Bright Lance. It needs to get back. I don't know why it's doing so far forward. Hello? Well. Only 67 VPs for Kickin, ticking down slowly. We got some line of sight problems here for the Bright Lance. You would think it would be able to fire at this thing. Maybe it's been blocked by its own web brigade. Probably is actually, isn't it? If you look like here. That arc of fire is not looking good. And then operatives onto this place. Needs to get something into the gate. I mean, Banshees would have been a good choice to deal with the operatives, I think. Oh man, these Vortimers are brutal. He's not focusing them with the appropriate things, like the Wraith Lord right now is wasting its shots on IST, when it should be forcing melee onto the Vortimer to kill it. And then Paladins come down. Yeah, we've got a Brother Captain in the middle of all this with his Nemesis Force Halberd. That's pretty rough. And then the Hunter Killers come in as well. Yeah, that's going to be GG. Tough endgame there. Tough endgame. Yeah, really nice Vortimer Razorback usage. I must be honest, I think the Vortimer Razorbacks are a little bit overpowered. I think they're too tanky with this upgrade. Whoa, what's going on? I didn't mean to do that. I don't know. There was a change. I don't even think it's tankiness, because they're not even that tanky when you look at them. Level 1, 750 HP. That's okay. That's still way less tanky than a upgraded Predator, which for the SM, which is 900. But the DPS that these things output to vehicles is insane now. There was a change made to them a while back, which made them better against vehicles and removed splash against infantry. And I just found it so strange. Maybe they were overpowered against infantry before, but now they feel overpowered against vehicles. I'd perhaps just tone back the vehicle damage. And also, the Hunter Killer missile doing 175 missile damage is too strong. That needs to be lower. It should be like 120 or something. But anyway, there you go. It was very nice play though from them. And of course, the Wraith Lord kind of doomed him when he was against the double Vortimer. But just note the macro positioning here. Lord Killer kept that other Vortimer back when obviously he could have just rammed them both forward. Obviously, of course he could do that. He was already ramming one forward right in his face, but he kept it back because he wanted to see the response. That's why this one was poking around here, just scouting. Obviously he knew he wasn't going to get any serious bleed because of the damage resistance that units get in base, but he's just scouting for what the response is going to be to the Vortimer. And then he's seen that there wasn't one, so he pulled it back, defended the VP, kept the drain going, but he still hadn't seen a response, so he didn't want to reveal the second Vortimer, because if he did, perhaps Kickin wouldn't have gone the Wraith Lord then, and he would have had double Bright Lances, and if he had double Bright Lances sooner, he would have had more VPs, and these Paladins would be coming out later. And Paladins, you know, they're obviously fantastic in the instance here that they were dropped down, but in general, Paladins, they don't do splash damage like Grey Knight normal Terminators, and they're heavy melee, not power melee, so Seers and Banshees can do pretty good against them because of the lack of splash. So yeah, it's an interesting little strategy going on there, but a pretty nice high level game there. Hope you did enjoy, folks. That's going to be all this time from your boy SCD, signing out.